today we're going to be lining a custom tank I built probably a year or so ago now. I made the mistake of letting it sit for ages, so the inside has rusted out. This was originally lined. It came off a James moped scooter thing, and I customized the tank by flipping it, put tabs on it. I changed the filler, was on the lower section, which I notched to fit the Honda Cub. Put a different inlet on it so I could have outlet, so I could have a regular sort of pit bike tap on it. And then on the cap, I had to hunt for one of these caps because they're like super duper rare. But yeah, look at that, that's pretty sweet. So I drilled and tapped that to have a breather on it for some more flow. So the liner that was originally in the tank was all chipped and jank. I wanted to customize the tank anyway, so I cut it in half and actually like physically removed it because there wasn't a chemical that would touch it. I don't know what it was, that liner. So after all that, cleaned it all out, used the apple cider vinegar, and it just rusted it. You can see the welds down the middle there where I welded the whole thing. The tank doesn't actually leak, and I'm hoping it is completely sealed because I took my time doing that paint job on it. And obviously I don't want anything bubbling through. So this is what we're dealing with right now. We got a vapor rust. I'm just going to fill it to the brim, let it sit for like a good 24 hours, clean the tank out, flush the rust out. Then we'll go through with the Tank Cure, their own rust reactor, and see what that does, reactor remover. Then their cleaner, then their product. And we'll see how that pans out. You can get stuff to remove this, so if it does go wrong, it should be easy enough to redo it after that. So anyway, we're going to fill it with a vapor rust. So I've removed the filter on the fuel tap now, and obviously have it in off position so nothing comes out. Having a bit of an issue with this. I can't really find anything to block it off with, so I've gone for a barbecue skewer and some duct tape. I'm sure that would be just fine. It says on the back, only do 2 to 4 hours. I think we can push that a bit more, can't we? Yeah. So the whole thing's in there. I'm just going to leave it now in different positions, probably swap it around every hour or so. I'm going to put it down in this bucket and let it sit and just move it around, and hopefully that should get to every part of the tank and we'll remove everything. So far, I'm pretty impressed there's no leaks on the tank. Shows the welds are pretty good. The tank was incredibly thin when I welded it. It was like 0.8 mil. I'll probably come down, move it every couple of hours or so, just so it reaches every part of the tank. Right, I've just removed the vapor rust from the tank. You can reuse it, so I've chucked it back in the container. I got the Tank Cure rust remover just to get the last little bits of rust in there. It's done a pretty good job, to be fair, but there's just a few little bits, so I'm just going to see how that does. That's obviously a part of the kit, so this should work better. This you do have to wear gloves for because it's a little more gnarly. And yeah, hopefully get the last bits of rust out, and then I'll carry on the process. So we're nearly ready to put the sealant in. The vapor rust I left in for about 5 days. The Tank Cure stuff I did 24 or just over 24 hours each, so that's on the rust remover and the cleaner. The cleaner seems to be just like I don't know, like a soapy water. I don't know if it is actually anything else. I then rinsed through a little bit of acetone in there, just because in the petcock there was like residue, and I thought, well, if there's residue in that, there might be residue in there that's struggling to get out. So I did some acetone just to thin it out a bit and get it out, which you can see there was a bit with the coloration. You can see there was still some cleaner in there. Now I'm going to do what they say and rinse through just some water to dry it out. I'm just going to put a heat gun on low setting in the filler. The water still come out quite soapy, so I'm going to give it another rinse through with another litre of water and then move on to the drying process. Right, I'm going through the drying process now, but inside I'm going to be getting like this dusty residue, which, I mean, I've rinsed it so many times. I've got some panel wipe, so I might chuck some of that in there and then it won't damage the paint. If not, I'll chuck some more acetone in there and give it a rinse through again.
Done the process now. 2 or 3 times because I wasn't happy with what I was getting. I mean, I knew this was going to be a problem, but it's really hard to see. To clean the product out, you have to rinse it with water. It's just causing flash rust. So obviously it's not as bad as the rust before, but if you have rust behind the 2-part sort of resin bubble, then it's just going to rust behind there. And I don't want it to fail, because I know in the past some of the tank liners are really, really hard to remove. This does have a special remover for it, but how good that is, you know, I don't want to risk it. So this is a problem I'm facing at the moment. Can you see on the cap? I'm doing exactly what they say. I'm doing the rust remover. I'm rinsing it with a cleaner. I'm then rinsing it with water. I'm then drying it. And all it's giving is like this oxidized residue. You see that? So the tank is full of that. Well, how are you supposed to bond to something that's super dusty? So basically, I think the tank's not leaking. I'm bailing out. I don't think I'm going to use it. I can't face it failing on me and then using the remover and it not removing. I've cut this in half once before to remove a liner. I'm not going to do it again. I'm following the instructions. I mean, the instructions are sort of, I'd say you're a bit left on your own with the instructions. It's not really, you can go onto the website and it says how. On the back of the containers, it says, you know, use the product several hours, rinse with water. That's basically the only instruction you get, and then use the sealer. But, I mean, you're not going to be able to seal onto oxidized dust, which is all inside the tank. I just don't get it. Rant over. I'm not that impressed. It was quite cheap, the product, so I'm not surprised. But, I mean, if anyone can lead me in the right direction of what's going on, let me know.
Right, this is going to be the third and final time of me trying the tank cure. So you saw that picture there of how much it's flash rusted inside. That is doing exactly what they say. I've cleaned it out, and then I put a hairdryer to it, as you saw, dried it out good and proper. It's proper dry. Only took like 20 odd minutes or so to dry it. Flash rust central. I was thinking that oxide I was getting inside might have been from, this is aluminium, and actually, because I've done the process so many times, I was using the old petcock as a blocker. Can you see it's actually eating it away? So that's probably not helping me. That might have been giving me that residue inside before. Now, I haven't got any residue, I'm just getting the flash rust, but I've done what it said. I've got leaks, so I'm just going to have to go for it. Right, I just opened up the container. There is actually instructions inside, which I didn't know, but it's all in German, or so it doesn't help. Right, I'm going to mix these 2 parts up. I need to prep the tank first, because you're supposed to use the cap on, but obviously I'm going to have to block this up. And then I'm going to have to put tape around the threads and stuff so it doesn't get blocked up. So third time round, the rust cure actually came out clear for some reason. Last time it was red and then came out red, but it came out clear this time. So when mixing resin, you want to do everything really slow. See how I'm just trickling it in? I'm not getting that sort of ribbon effect if I went like vertical like that. That's so you get less air bubbles. I did a slight ribbon then, you see how I got the bubbles? So I wasn't too pleased that I had to apply the product over the flash rust I got in the tank. I'd follow the steps perfectly, so if there was any fallback, I could at least say to the company, I'd followed the steps perfectly, and it was the result I was getting. It was also at this point, I'd become so bored of doing the process, I just wanted it to work. The product took a very long time to set, so just to be safe, I continued rolling it for a few hours. So overall, the tank liner works. The resin bubble, which the reason I went with Tank Cure is because they use resin, was always going to work due to the fact it's a 2-part product. I didn't like the fact that the way it tells you to clean the tank prior to all the rust remover actually causes flash rust using water and mild steel, which is always going to be the issue. But the product works, so the longevity will be the question. I would use this product again, but I think in the future I'd probably give it a quick acetone or panel wipe wash instead of the water. Please feel free to ask any questions and like and subscribe for more videos on this project. Thanks for watching.